Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 51. This is the day when we unleash the full power of our construction industry. Only, not on the city quite yet, we still have a lot of road to cover. Quite literally. There are quite a few kilometers between the existing infrastructure, and what one day will be our next city. If we kept using dirt roads, the rate of construction would suffer immensely over the long term, so I thought it would be better if we got everything up to gravel at the very least. And thanks to the double-lane highway, we can also start upgrading that to asphalt, so our new modern trucks are able to reach their destinations even faster. The very first thing I wanted to do was to add the service roads around the city. It's an effective way of spreading the full force of the available construction capacity over multiple entry points in such big projects. The most logical place for starting this was at the end of the cliffside road that comes up from the distribution drop-off station. That's the earliest point that will be completed. As you can see, I just took that road as far as possible around the city, and added as many of the open connection points as I could. Most of the nodes visible were thanks to footpaths, so we couldn't use those, but there were a few that we could. Then I just did the same thing on the other side, and one half of the city was ready for construction. And the farm branch junction is finished. Let's set up those signals, and see if the blocks in the middle are long enough for a queue. The least we can do is have the signals in a neat line. Alright. Let's see if those blue blocks are long enough to house a 150-meter long train. Yep. We are good to go. And yeah, I did just notice that one of the signals are set wrong. Thankfully, it's on the side that won't be used for quite a while, so we have time to fix it. Next, let's take care of the increased farming capacity. By adding those extra fields, I am fairly certain that a single large agro building won't be enough to handle it all, so let's add a second one. That should be adequate. Now we just need the distribution offices needed to handle the grain pickups from the fields. Let's make sure everything gets power. We will need that to keep the vehicles fueled. And good thing we checked, the existing substation didn't reach far enough to cover the new additions. I suppose we could use the construction hub's transformer for power, even if the distances are quite large. I guess we will see, but I don't see that one using the remaining connections for anything, so might as well use it. And since we already started to upgrade some of the roads to gravel already, let's just carry on with that. Now that the farm fields are laid out in their final positions, we might as well place the dividers. Most of these will be bushes of course, but I won't fill up the gaps completely. I will try to do it in a way that will leave small holes that we can finish up with some trees. We have quite a few places we need to cover, and since bushes are so hard to see when they are new, I just went over the place, trying to do as much as I could, and see how things are when they are more visible. Yeah, that should do it for now. We will just need to check back in a few months, and see how they look then. We are running low on gravel in the hub. Let's see how things are in the processing plant. We have quite a bit ready for pickup. Which means one thing. The aggregate wagons are busy doing other things right now. Might not be a bad idea to buy some more. First, we will need a new locomotive to move them. I really didn't want to bother messing with the ones in the office too much, so I decided to use an idea suggested by one of you, namely having a dedicated wagon moving locomotive in the depot. Six more cars should be good enough. Since this one will have to end up in the depot in the end, I just kept an eye on it while it did this delivery. There. Now the distribution office has 12 aggregate cars to play around with. And we have a new train that can move cars around as needed. It looks like one of the bridges is done, and the other one isn't far behind. Always good to see progress being made. And the rail construction office is filling up with bricks again. To avoid the same issue we had before, let's nip it in the bud, and just build an external storage for these materials. A small one will be plenty enough. Accidentally added the new hub too. No matter, it's a very small job, so it won't divert too much of the available capacity. Also notice that the meat train overhangs the signal a little, and fortunately doesn't seem to block the level crossing. It seems we got lucky with that one. Since I would like to bring the fire station online before anything else in the city, let's make sure the roads leading to it are finished first. In fact, let's concentrate on the roads altogether. Don't get distracted by things that are less important at this very moment. We will have time building those at a later date. Thanks to the way the city is set up, there is no real quick way to bring the dirt service roads to the other side without building a bridge for it. So, instead I just went around and added them there too, and once we manage to punch through somewhere, we can just use that. This did give me an idea. How about we build these service connection not just on the outside, but on the inside too. This way, we can tackle the city from not just the outside, but inside too. This pretty much makes the outside ring on the southern side irrelevant though. Oh well. It was free. Okay, I could have carried on to have full coverage, but it was a bit tedious, so I left it as is. Next, let's take care of the rest of the farm roads. The thing is, the actual farm machinery will be able to get around just fine on dirt roads, but the trucks will be much more efficient on upgraded ones. For the best result, we would need asphalt of course, but I am willing to sacrifice that kind of efficiency for that rural aesthetic. I also made sure to only upgrade the main roads. The actual driveways connecting the fields are left as dirt. That was a lot of roads. Good thing this side has a much simpler layout. Okay, just to make everything uniform, let's turn these roads into open-ended stubs, just like we had everywhere else. And we might as well start delivering the gravel, and maybe build them if one of the bulldozers or excavators are available. Of course, not all of them have enough room for helicopters to land. Those will be done by trucks once the bridges are complete. This is where I decided to bring in the Kirchhoff offices on this job. This small road segment was too short for machinery, and too boxed in for helicopters to land. And since the new hub can only deliver workers via helicopters, we needed the help of the Kirchhoff buses. And once I started using them for one job, I just went ahead and put them to work on as many sites as possible. You know what? Let's not waste effort on building the town tracks yet. Focus on finishing the farm branch. At least that's what I thought at this moment. With this, the 2-track layers will continue building the farm branch, without wasting time on the other ones. And hey, the outside storage is done. Before we redirect the deliveries, let's make sure the space is allocated correctly. So, instead of moving stuff to the office, the materials will instead go to the storage, preventing that overflow problem we had earlier. Alright, we have everything we need. I didn't really check, but I assume the gravel and the electronic storage in the office is separate from the rest, so we don't need to worry about overflow on that one. But that's just an educated guess. There was a name suggested for the new farm area. From now on, it will be named Agroprom, after the agricultural research facility in the Stalker games. The new storage for the RCO seemed to be working nicely. There are overflows on all materials, instead of one taking up all the space, crowding out the others. Which made me consider the possibility of adding a 3rd track layer to the stable. This one is of course using the last remaining color available to use. Green. I couldn't think of any fitting name that goes with the existing ones. There are no green stars, and the only celestial body that's green is Earth. It feels kind of out of place if we name it that. I suppose we could just call it Aurora. Those are green, I suppose. And with this new addition, we can continue working on the tracks closer to the new town. Yeah. I only came up with the name while editing, but I really like the idea of naming this one Aurora. Hey, the power pylons are under construction at last. All it took was to call Kirchhoff for help. You know what? Let's start upgrading one side of the highway to asphalt. With both sides being gravel, I see no reason to delay. Glad to see gravel making its way to the new hub. Although the fact that the train is only filled up to about 1/3 to its max capacity is a bit worrying. We managed to chew through our gravel reserves rather quickly. Might need to expand that operation soon. And as usual, having all these helicopters hover around for their turn at the landing pads is wasting an awful lot of fuel. We will definitely need to take a closer look at our fuel reserves before long. Here are a couple buses coming in from Estergrad. The total time the workers spent traveling is over the limit at this point, but they still managed to reach the site. It's been a while, but I do remember people giving up and instantly teleporting home when this happened in the past. I wonder what the current system is exactly. Same here. Maximum time should be 5 hours, but these guys have been on the road for over 6 at this point, and yet, they still got to work when they arrived. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, but the game does need a bit of updating to the information displayed by the UI. That's a lot of asphalt. It's a long stretch of road, so it will take a while. Maybe I will break it into smaller segments. We have the pavers to do the job, so it would make sense to do it. To pass the time, I decided to hitch a ride back to the Estergrad area on the new track layer. We saw this coastal ride already, but I don't think we've seen it from this direction yet. There are the first towers visible in Estergrad. We are getting close. And since I was here, how about we quickly check how the citizens feel these days? They seem to be doing just fine. No major complaints, and unemployment is well managed. I would prefer 0% of course, but I don't think 2% is an emergency or anything. You know what? This bus station has been the biggest source of unemployment for ages. If we give this as the source of construction workers, it will not only cut down on that percentage, it will also shorten the travel time for the buses a little bit. Nice, the farm road is progressing nicely. Let's add the next segment to the queue. Since I wasn't completely confident that the material deliveries to the rail construction office are capable of keeping up with the demand, I decided to give the farm branch segments high priority. If we can, we will still work on the rest, but let's focus on that farm. Now that the bushes are more visible, let's go over the area once more, and make sure all the gaps are filled out. To complete the area, how about we fill any remaining spot with some trees? The majority are occupied by bushes, but there should still be some space available. This little paver is going quite fast. I might not need to break this segment into smaller pieces after all. Another segment done, another added to the queue. I was wondering why these guys are sitting idle in the office. I suspected fuel issues, and that's exactly what was the culprit. Time to send them home, I guess. And I think that should do it for today. I think we did some good work today, mostly centered around the roads. To get the most out of our construction industry, this had to be done. The maximum speed on the gravel roads is only 60, and our vehicles are capable of much more than that. Having that highway upgraded to asphalt will speed things up quite considerably in the long term. I was really hoping we could start working on the city proper today, but to be honest, future me would have hated it if we didn't deal with this right now. But at least we are pretty much at the gates. We just need to quickly take care of that ramp leading up to the plateau, and it should be full steam ahead from there. I'm still a bit worried about the travel time of the buses though. I have a feeling that the town will be just barely out of reach for them. If that turns out to be the case, then we will need to set up a high-speed rail service from Estergrad, despite my reluctance to do it until now. But before we resort to that, we can also try using some faster buses. We have options, so we should be okay. I think. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, then leaving a like and subscribing to the channel just might motivate me to make more. If you are more in the donating mood, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description, where you can buy me a glass of water. I don't really drink coffee. Thank you for your support, and until next time, I will see you later.